welcome to my FlossTube channel. I'm Jean Farish, and I am so glad that you get to spend this time with us today. And when I say us, I am here with Whitley Quimby in Brookneal, Virginia at the Southern Stitchers Needlework Shop. And today she had her Christmas in July celebration.
Yes.
And so I came up here with my friend Sue, and we have literally been here since she opened the doors this morning. And I just enjoyed ourselves so much. So tell me a little bit about your journey as a stitcher. Who taught you how to stitch? How did you learn?
Sure. So I learned to stitch about 5 years ago. We moved back, my husband and I moved back from Las Vegas, Nevada, back here to Virginia, and my mom was very excited because now she says, oh, now I can have someone I can stitch with, I can teach all these things to. And she was getting ready to retire, so she taught me cross stitch, punch needle, quilting, I mean everything.
That's fantastic.
And then it turned into this.
Okay, now that didn't just happen because you thought about it.
No.
What was that process
So this
like?
all happened because I like to touch things, I like to see things, and I like instant gratification. That's one of the biggest things. I like instant gratification. And anything cross-stitch related that I wanted, I always had to buy online or had to wait until I went to my parents in Richmond to then drive up to Northern Virginia to, oh, I forgot the name of that shop, or, you know, down to Virginia Beach, you know, Hampton to dine to stitch. You know, it's not like just, oh, let me pop over there for 30 minutes. No, you can't do that. So I'd seen online a store in Lynchburg, which is 45 minutes from me. I carried a specific floss, drove there. They did not. I'd already been making a lot of jokes about, so that's it, I'm going to start my own store. And
You dug in and said, I'll just do it myself.
that's it. I said, that's it. I'm starting a store. And literally within a week, I had gotten paperwork taken care of. And 2 weeks later, we were on Etsy.
Good.
And Etsy started with just an accordion folder of patterns. And a little drawer of floss of popular colors that turned into a bigger accordion, to a two-drawer filing cabinet, to a 4-drawer medical filing cabinet, to 1,800 square feet.
Right, and it's a really charming story. I mean, you can tell that it's that the building itself has been here for a while. I love all the exposed brick and the wood. It just has a lot of character. You just walk in, and it's very warm and inviting.
Yeah, thank you.
You've done a great job with that.
Thank you.
And I can tell, I mean, I took a lot of photographs, so, you know, I'll be showing those while we're talking, that you've got a full range of designs and threads. I love your fabric selection. And also, while I'm thinking about it, Brookneal is just a quintessential small southern town.
Yes, yeah.
And right up the street on the corner, we had lunch at the drugstore grill. And I'm going to tell you, it was good. It was very good food. Sue had a club sandwich that was to die for. I enjoyed my barbecue a great deal. Big pile of French fries. I mean, real French fries.
Yeah.
Just really, really good food. So even if this isn't just down the street for you, this is a nice girlfriend's day out. Just get in the car. The countryside is gorgeous. Just rolling hills, this part of Virginia, and you know, stay for lunch, stay for the afternoon. Big table in the back for people to sit and stitch, and we have just really enjoyed ourselves.
I'm glad we stitch we do sin stitch every single Saturday that I'm here, and we just have a good time. It's nothing fancy, nothing formal. Come as you are, basically. We're just here to stitch, hang out, and have a good time. And share what we're doing. Now,
today being Christmas in July, you also had Christmas cookies. And before I forget about it, I want you to promise I get the recipe for the cherry cookies and the coffee cookies.
Yes, I'll make
My
sure
family
I get those
knows.
for you.
I mean, I could easily bake 18 different varieties of Christmas cookies every year. Now I have 2 more recipes.
2 more to add to
I have
it.
to add
They
to
are
it.
absolutely fabulous cookies. I love them.
Yeah, so that was really nice. And I know you had a lot of support from other people in the industry, some companies that donated some giveaways and
So we've done giveaways today from Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works. We did trunk shows today. A huge thank you to Rogue Fabrics / Atomic Fabrics, Weeks Dye Works, and Annie B's, who sent up a trunk show of models and some of her Christmas themed and winter themed patterns, which have been a good hit today.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about this industry. I mean, we may be spread across the United States and now worldwide with fabric and fibers coming from many different countries. But it's a really small community as far as being supportive and helping each other out and making those kinds of donations. So that's really great.
Yeah, it's been a great event, and I also loved to have been able to meet some new stitchers and invite them on Saturdays, and that's been really nice. I enjoy doing it.
And while I was browsing in the store, I saw the issue of Primitive Punch Needle and
Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher Magazine, PNPS Magazine for short.
And you had an article in there with one of your own original designs.
Yes, that is Ooze Flag. It's my first time being in the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher Magazine, so I was very excited about that.
Yeah, you should be. It was beautiful, nice design.
I've been sitting on that for, knowing it's been happening for, I don't know, it feels like forever. Because it's been ready. Yeah. You know, you had to have it in before a certain time.
Oh yeah, that timeline of from editorial concept to getting it on the newsstand.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah. Yes. And I've enjoyed it. I've had the model sitting high up in the shop, and people see it, and when I'm like, no, you have to wait.
And now they don't have to wait
anymore.
So have you designed other things? Do you have more in the pipeline here?
I do, yes. So I have a good handful of other designs. I've started releasing, I think the summer, fall of last year. I remember sitting on the beach stitching one of the first designs, stitching the model for it. Because I'll design, then I stitch it to make any chart corrections and, you know, change threads, fabrics, whatever. But yes, I've got a computer full of designs that just have to be stitched for release. So right now I'm stitching the model for a design that will be in the Christmas winter PNPS magazine, and then I will move on to the next round of releases.
Good. Well, and I applaud that commitment on your behalf, because one of the things that in my conversations today with the wonderful group of people that were sitting around the stitch table is just this, and my viewers know I've said this before, is this kind of new trend of designers designing things and publishing them that they've never stitched, and the color you see on your computer monitor is not necessarily the true color, and sometimes two colors that are perfectly nice colors just don't get along well together, or they don't convey the spirit of the design, and you have to make a change.
Yes.
And you don't know that unless you've stitched it or had it stitched for you.
Yeah,
so,
I'm dealing with that now. I'm on the third revision of a model stitch for the PNPS magazine. I'm on the third attempt at it to, first it was fabric I didn't like, then I didn't like the bulkiness of 2 threads over 2. So now the third revision is, I didn't like I didn't like 2 of the colors together. They didn't work. They disappeared. They blended into each other too much.
Right.
Separate, they are fantastic, but when you stitch them right next to each other,
I
didn't like it.
Sometimes they blend, or they can look muddy, or you can't. The human eye can't distinguish. It's 2 different colors.
They look too much the same.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And you really do not know that until you've stitched it. I don't care how long you've been doing this, because I've been doing it for a few decades, and it still happens.
Yeah.
Tell me about the shop dog.
So this is Cody, and
Cody is worn out. He's been busy today.
Oh yes, he has. He is the most codependent thing in the entire world. He was a surprise from my husband on our anniversary last year, after I lost my dog Layla, and I've had her for about 12 years.
Oh.
And so he has been in here every single day since he was 8 weeks old.
Oh my goodness.
He knows his favorite people. He knows their car. He knows what their car sounds like. He will see them across the street, and he loves his favorite peoples.
Oh, that's great.
And one of our other stitchers who comes in, she also has a dog. She brings him sometimes, and they'll play together and have the
Was
best
that-
time ever. That was the Pug Elvis, yeah.
Oh, his name is Elvis?
Elvis,
Oh,
yeah.
my
His
goodness.
name is Elvis, and they just have themselves a wild and crazy time. And now
Oh.
he's pooped out.
That's great. Oh yeah, I mean, just very, very well behaved. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, since he really is a shop dog, if he's been here since he was 8
Yeah.
weeks old. That's wonderful. So, as a shop, of course, I'm always asking about classes and events. So tell me what you have on the horizon in that category.
All right, so our next big event is November 11th, which is a ticketed event. It's going to be $40, includes lunch, an exclusive pattern that I am designing, and but we're also going to have trunk shows and vendors. So we're going to have 2 or 3 fabric vendors. Lap and Loops is coming down from Richmond, Virginia. She is Becky Nolan's daughter. She dyes fabric, beautiful, absolutely beautiful fabric. Rogue will be back, and so will Weeks.works.
Okay.
And I think Annie B's will also be back with a trunk show as well.
Fantastic.
And anybody else who is willing to do it. But all the attendees will have exclusive shopping to the vendors and the trunk shows that day, and a little goodie bag for joining us for our first annual Stitchers Thanksgiving.
Okay, Stitchers Thanksgiving. I love it.
Yeah.
And how about any retreats?
Yes. So I am planning our first retreat. It is turning out to be more difficult than I ever thought it would be. Mostly location at this current point is trying to finalize a location. We are way out in the middle of nowhere, so I need to make sure we have accommodations for people who do want to travel, so they have a place to stay and can easily get to the meeting location for the retreat. So I'm hoping we can get the Appomattox in, which is about 20-25 minutes from here.
Okay.
And it's a nice little town. So that's the next plan, and I would love for you to come do a class or something for us too. I heard you do classes.
Would love to do it.
I would love that.
I'm just right down the road.
Yeah.
So, and I guess for those of you who are not familiar, Brookneal is in southern part of Virginia, kind of the central southern part. If you know where Lynchburg is, it's like you got Lynchburg and Richmond, and Brookneal's kind of like if you drew a triangle, it would be an upside down triangle.
Yeah.
Even if you don't just live right down the street, what's nice about this shop, I think, is that it's just a good day out. You know, I came up with my girlfriend Sue, shopped and stitched, and then we walked up the street to the drugstore grill and had a fantastic lunch.
Yeah.
And then came back and stitched and shopped some more. And so it's, you know, you might say, oh my goodness, that's an hour and a half away, but it is definitely worth the trip, I will tell you. Just block out the time, treat yourself. It's well worth it.
It's a great day trip because we do have a couple of restaurants here. Over on Main Street, we have a couple of antique and vintage shops that you can visit, distinctively done designs. There is the department store, Rusty Rooster, which are antique vintage shops.
Okay.
Drugstore Grill. We have a Mexican restaurant, El Cazador.
And you mentioned an Italian one also.
An Italian restaurant over here called Pino's on the main road right here, Lusardi Drive. And we're also like 15 minutes from Red Hill, which is Patrick Henry's final resting place. And his basically his retirement estate is how they explain
Give
it.
me liberty, give me death.
Yeah,
Patrick Henry.
so his estate, and he's buried there. So you can tour his home. They have a beautiful museum, and it's a beautiful place to visit and walk around.
So I said girlfriend's day out, but you know, if you're somebody in your life who is a Civil War buff, I noticed like a couple historical markers as I was coming along. Yeah, right nearby. So so it's definitely
it's a nice little day trip.
Nice day. Yeah. Okay, so besides all the cross stitch, I also noticed you've got a nice assortment of quilting fabrics.
Yes, so carrying the fabric started out of needing fabrics for cross stitch finishing.
Yeah.
But I also quilt. I also like to sew. I like to make project bags or whatnot little things, and so he's brought in fabrics that you can either make quilts out of or you can use for cross stitch finishing.
Right.
I like the multi-purpose-ness of those fabrics.
And you have a good eye for that. And so I think that in terms of the uninitiated consumer of fabrics. You go into a big box store and there's like a gazillion bolts of fabric, but here it's like a curated assortment where there are colors that you would automatically say, oh, that would go with this cross-stitch design, or that would go with that pattern.
Yes.
I mean, you can tell that you have an eye for that.
Thank
you. Yeah, very, very well done.
Thank you. Pretty much any pattern in here, you could pick and say, do you have anything I could use to bag this with a pillow?
Right.
Or, you know, just a backer board for cross-stitch finishing.
Right.
Sure, I can
Right.
go to almost
Yeah.
any bulb or pull a piece of wool.
Yeah, so instead of taking your cross stitch to the big box store, you're just right here and you can say, oh, well, here's the threads I'm going to be using, and you can just match it to the fabric right there.
And we color.
It's great.
Yeah. And if we don't have it, we will help pick you a color thread wise.
Okay.
We change, just because it says that the model for this particular designer was stitched in that does not mean you have to stitch it that way. You do you pick your fabric, make it you.
Right.
Because you're the one who's going to have to look at it forever.
I also noticed you have some beautifully made tote bags and project bags.
Yeah, so Jackie makes a lot of our tote bags. She hand makes all of those. Our fully closed project bags, she makes those and sells those here in the shop. And I do the vinyl project bags. It's a nice little way to spend the day.
Yep.
Pens and Needles meets on Wednesdays here, which is a local stitching group. So if you want to join on a Wednesday, we're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Thanks for coming today.
All right. And I actually stitched some today.
Yes.
I'm not ready to do my cross stitch yet, but I did worked on my counted needle point because the canvas is so much bigger. But and the needle's eye is bigger. Try threading a needle one-handed. It's a challenge. Yeah, it's a challenge. So yeah, I'm finding out there's a lot of things I can't do yet, but I'm getting there. But again, we have really enjoyed ourselves today.
Good. And
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad you came up and that you got to stitch some today.
Yep. All right. We'll be back.
Yes. Good.
Okay. Meantime, stitch happy, stay safe, and I'll see you later.